Welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Introvert's Haven. My name is Megan and welcome back to my library. I know this video is late. This is my February reading wrap up. It is late because the last couple of weeks have just honestly been insanely busy. I just haven't even had time to do really much of anything. I haven't had a lot of time to read. And as a result, I was kind of pushing this video off and filming this video so that I could finish the last two books that I had, just a little bit more to go on each one. But I figured I would talk about them anyway because I wanted to record my February wrap up. Spring is in the air, y'all. It's coming. I can feel it coming. I'm not excited about it. Every year, every spring, something just goes diabolically wrong, and this year is no different. So I'm sure that is in part why it was just a very weird reading month. Like, a lot of the books I felt like were really, really well done, but just I was not connecting to them. Or some of the ones that were really, really well done I liked, but I feel like I would have liked it more if I was in like a better headspace. But I am just mentally kind of getting ready for spring. But I do hope that the reading will at least be decent this spring, and enjoy it to the best of my ability, considering everything that is currently going on in the world, in my personal life, and just everything in between. So I'm just getting ready. But without further ado, let's get to the books that I read in February. Okay, so the first book that I read was The Breakup Tour by Emily Wimberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. I'll be honest, I did not like this one. I rated it 2 stars. And it's a really big shame because the concept was really interesting. It was just the execution that fell flat for me. I didn't connect with the characters like I was really hoping that I would. I really thought I was going to connect well with the storyline, and I just did not, unfortunately. So this story is following Riley and Max, and Riley is essentially like Taylor Swift. She is a huge pop icon. She's doing phenomenally well, and she has written an album that has become massively successful. And her ex-husband is trying to take credit for one of the songs that is on the album and trying to say that this song was written about him and it was about their love. And in reality, it was not about their relationship at all. This relationship was actually about Max, her college boyfriend. They ended up splitting in college, but she secretly always really kept those strong feelings for him, and him for her as well. After they parted ways, Max went on to run the retirement home that his family owns, but his family is kind of disappointed. They really wanted him to chase his dreams and not just kind of live his life around this retirement home. But he feels a really big sense of pride and wanting to do right by the residents of this retirement home. And they do run into some financial trouble. But Riley ends up resurfacing and finding Max and asks if he's okay with her telling the world that this song was written not about her ex-husband, but about them when they were in college. And he decides that he's going to agree to this, but he wants to go on tour with her. And it's a second chance romance. I'll be honest, I feel like it had so much potential, but the characters, as you were reading them, I don't know, I just could not connect with them. And when I went on Goodreads, because I was curious, like, what do other people have to say about this book? Is this just an off time for me? It sounded like that was kind of the general consensus. So I do feel a little bit better about the rating that I gave. I don't recommend this one, to be honest. Okay, up next is The Chaperone by M.Hendrix. So this book is very similar to The Handmaid's Tale. It's not a copy paste, and it's not quite as dark as The Handmaid's Tale because it is catered to YA. But the message behind it is very, very similar. So this story follows Stella, and Stella is being raised in New America. And in New America, there are lots of rules. Girls are not to be left alone. They are to be accompanied by these chaperones that are hired to come in and accompany these girls everywhere that they go. And basically everything about their lives is controlled, from what they eat to who they end up marrying to whether or not they can go to college. All of these things are just all controlled for them. And they're told that this is the better way of life, and most of the women in this society don't know any differently. And so a lot of them don't question it. So the chaperones and the girls end up getting pretty close, and Stella's chaperone and her are no different. Sister Helen has been with her for a few years now, and they have a great relationship until one day Sister Helen ends up dying unexpectedly and gets replaced by a new sister called Sister Laura. And Sister Laura kind of makes her question everything that she's ever been told. Is it necessarily a good thing that you have no control over your life? Or are you capable of deciding these things on your own? Are you capable of being on your own? And so she just starts questioning everything about the way that she was raised and whether or not this is really and truly a normal thing to do, or whether old America had it right to begin with, and that patriarchal society is not as good as it was portrayed to be. I really, really like this one. I rated it 4 stars. It does look very thick, I'll be honest, but the chapters are so short, like literally a page or 2. I flew through this, and it was honestly a really, really good read. Again, it's catered to YA, so it is a little bit younger in nature, but the message of it was really great. And next is A Song to Drown Rivers by Liang. This book was amazing. This was my favorite book that I read this month. 5 stars. I am so annoyed because I just went into the bookstore the other day, and now they have copies with like sprayed edges. And now, because I love this book so much, I really, really want the copy with the sprayed edge. But I'm trying to tell myself it's not necessary. I don't need it. I think I need it. But I'm not going to get it right now because I'm going to be good. This book is following Zishi, and Zishi is part of the Yu people. I don't know if it's a dynasty. I don't know what the right terminology is, but she's part of the Yu kingdom. And the Yu and the Wu are at war. One day, a man named Fanley comes into town, and he notices just how stunningly beautiful she is, and decides that he is going to ask her to do this really impossible task of going into the neighboring enemy's kingdom and trying to win over the king so that her kingdom, the Yu kingdom, can infiltrate them and take them down. And Yishi's got her own skin in the game here. Her sister was killed by some of the Wu soldiers, and she has a lot of hate in her heart for the things that have been done to her kingdom over the years. And so she decides to say yes. And Zishi is trained by Fanley to hide her emotions, to play instruments, and to basically craft her into the perfect poker face to take this king down. And also how to win his affections a little bit. And she's successful. She's able to win over his affections. But the more higher up she goes into this court, the higher the chances of them falling. And this book gutted me. It's got a lot of really sad, like gut-wrenching moments. And for me, I wasn't really sure who I was rooting for. Her relationship with the king or with Fanley. And I know that that's probably not like a super popular opinion, but there were certain parts that just made me so sad for this king as I was reading it. But also the brutality, I understand why they were sent in to take him down. It was one of those very like morally gray, contradicting opinions of the book, and I love this book. Next, I read The 3 Lives of Cate by Cate Fagan, and I rated this book 2 stars, but I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure if it's a true 2-star or if I just wasn't in a great headspace for it. I was told that this is very similar to the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I do understand the comparison. I understand where it's coming from. I just did not like this book. Like, I kept trying the whole book. I'm like, maybe I'll just connect. I just got to read a little bit more. I read this whole book and I did not connect to it. I didn't connect to it at all. I've seen online a lot of the Goodreads reviews and everybody seems to love it. I just don't happen to be one of them. And again, I don't know, is it truly that it wasn't a great read, or am I just not in a good headspace? I feel like it's me. I feel like this is a me problem. So this book is following Cate, and Cate has had 3 lives. Yeah? So Cate K is a pen name for this author who has kept her identity very well hidden from the world. And her books do so well that she ends up getting a movie deal. And when she does this movie deal, the lead actress wants to meet her. And so they do meet. And then it forces Cate to kind of come to the decision of, do I need to return to the life that I ran from and confront the demons of my past? This was very friendship heavy. It was LGBT themed, and it had all the perfect components. So Cate has to decide whether or not she wants to return to her former life and right the wrongs that she has done to make her go on the run to begin with. Up next is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This book is the one that I'm still currently reading. I have just a little bit more to go on it, but so far I am thoroughly enjoying this book. I just need more hours in the day to read. You know what I mean? Less adulting, more reading. Yes. So this book is following Iris and Roman, and they are rivals, if you could not guess from the title. And they both work at this very coveted newspaper, and they both want the position of a columnist. And so they are kind of duking it out, trying to get this promotion. At the same time, there is a war going on, and Iris's brother has been sent out to it. She is dealing with a lot at home. Her mother is suffering from addiction. This is a fantasy. So one night she decides that she's going to write a letter to her brother and stick it in her wardrobe, and hopefully it will find him wherever he is on the battlefield. Except her brother does not write to her. It is her rival, unbeknownst to her. And they end up forming a relationship through writing these letters back and forth to each other. She ends up going to the battlefield to report on this war. And this is a war between gods. And so there is that fantastical element to it, but it's so well written. Honestly, the vibes of this book, it's giving me very like vintage New York-y type vibes, but doesn't take place obviously in New York because it's a fantasy. So far I'm loving it, and I know that there's a second book to it, so 100% when I finish this, I do need to go get the second book. I don't think I can really give it a rating yet because I haven't finished it, and I tend to be the type of person that until I finish a book, I don't like to rate it because you never know what the ending is going to hold. Because if the ending is phenomenal, great, then you can rate it nice and high. But if the ending is a letdown, then that's going to change all of your rating. So far, I'm projecting this to be like a 4 or 5 star, but I just need to sit down and honestly finish it tonight. And hopefully I'll have the time to do that because I have bought an energy drink so that I can do just that. And the last book that I am also trying to get done and hope to have gotten done but didn't is The Perfect Guest by Ruth Iron. And this book is following Dinah, and Dinah just doesn't quite fit in anymore. She went to university with these girls, and at the time they had so much in common. But as they get back together and go to this fancy house for a weekend, she realizes that there's so much about her life that just doesn't fit in with her friends anymore. Her friends are now married. They have these great careers. They've got kids. And she works at a coffee shop, and she's just kind of disappointed with where she is in life, and she's disappointed that she no longer fits in with this group of girls. And while she's at this fancy house, she ends up looking and seeing all of these pictures of this family who lives there, and she becomes very obsessed with this family. She wants to infiltrate in, she wants to be friends with them, and so she ends up crossing paths pretty intentionally with the husband and the wife at a party one night and strikes up a relationship. But once again, she just doesn't quite fit in. Like there's something just slightly off about her. And some of the friends have to question, is she really who she says she is? Like, is she this brilliant tutor, or is there something else to her? And again, she is becoming very obsessed with fitting into this group and wanting to elevate herself in society and to fit in. And she is very threatened by the person who ends up suspecting her. And she is going to do whatever it takes to leave her old life behind and come into this new friend circle and be welcomed. Again, I haven't finished it, so I can't give it like a final star rating. I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be around a 4-star. So far, it's really, really well written. This takes place in Europe as well, which is really fun. Get a little summer break in the winter. And so far, I highly recommend it. That is all of my February books. Again, I am so sorry I did not get to finish the 2 books that I talked about at the end, but so far they're really great reads. It's just life has been wild. I don't know, has everybody else's life been so crazy lately? I will also apologize. The lighting's a little bit bad. Again, busy all day and didn't get to record this until nighttime. It is what it is. It'll be fine. It's fine. This weekend, we also have something to be very excited about because it's daylight savings time. And if you work night shift, like me, myself, and I, your day just got an hour shorter. I look forward to this every year. I used to dread it back when I was a normal part of society and slept all night and woke up during the daytime. But now that I work nights, I literally sign up to work this day every single year. It is my favorite. Hopefully this coming month will be a better mental space, a better reading month. I am already behind, but I am not going to stress out about it because that does not help anything. So here we are. Thank you so much for watching if you watched through this point. Good night, guys.